Who decided I should follow Maya Angelou's words? I taped my cell phone to a kitchen spatula with packing tape, and that to the end of a 6-foot orange paint stick, and I climbed to the top of the ladder in my backyard on Saturday afternoon, yesterday. It's not raining, but it feels like it could. The rungs of the aluminum ladder are cold on my bare hands and slippery under my feet. I turn on the video, and I reach the paint stick, spatula phone thing, through the opening of the Screech Owl box to see if Natalie and John were home. Yes, I named the Screech Owls in the owl box in my backyard after about 10 years of patience and 3 house moves myself. Dang those starlings. They have evicted my owls and built their own nest. I'm distraught, disappointed, and disturbed, and reminded of my fragile humanness in the ways of nature. You can probably tell open inquiry is not what's going on here. But in my defense, Rod is in Florida, and he asked me to do this just not too long ago. So Natalie's been perched at the entrance of this home for about 2 weeks. She was content to sleep all day, opening her eyes at the smallest bit occasionally. My dogs romped below, and I'd come out every morning and say, "Good morning, Natalie." I'd wish her well and then watch her from my office window working from home. I had noticed the relentless starlings now and then, but she was steady and seemed able to withstand their taunting. In the evening, John would join her. Though quite shy, he bounds down into the house whenever I offer salutations. Friday night, I hadn't seen her all day. It was long after dark. I was afraid the starlings had won. But then I heard the call of the screech owl, and I went outside, and in the bare oak tree out front, I could barely make out their silhouettes in the lowest branches of the tree. I had a chat with them, and I shared my plan. The determination of my ego had dismissed the ways of the wild at this point, and in the rain and the dark, I had the ladder out. My boyfriend appeared. He talked me into perhaps taking on this challenge in the morning. He didn't think a mom of 6 should be that high on a ladder in the dark, in the rain. So with his help in the daylight yesterday, he climbed the ladder, and he swept out the straw nest that was invading Natalie and John's home. And for extra measure, we placed a second house, 15 feet high, facing south, in a different tree in the yard, in case they're too traumatized to go to the first. Yes, I am aware that I'm attaching human attributes to an approximately 8-inch, 5-ounce wild bird. I've noticed owls for many years. Hearing the call of the barred owl in the dark of night at a previous home was always a welcome sound. One happened to be calling out the night I drove away from that home for the last time, and I had one tattooed on my shoulder. Dr. Clarissa Pincola Estes says this about the owl in her audible presentation of Mother Night. The owl flies at night, a creature who in reality can see in the dark. It's a creature who knows where the obstacles are and flies around them and over them, a creature that hunts with impeccable eye, foreseeing the tiniest of movements, completely aware, observationally, intuitively, and instinctually. She says these are all the marks of creativity, of a creative force. In ancient mythology, the owl was considered the helpmate of several of the gods and goddesses because it could fly at a time and move at a time when others could not see their way clear. So the owl comes to mean the ability to see into, under, and around, the ability to fly with sureness and agility through storms and lightning strikes, to fly through the dark and arrive whole, safely, and with the mission in hand and completed. So are you wondering if the owl was back in the house this morning? Well, yes, mission completed.